Layla Brooks was just looking for a simple blind date. But when she mistakenly sits at the wrong table, she finds herself in deep conversation with a charming stranger. Little does she know, Noah Sinclair isn't just any man. He's one of the city's most eligible millionaires. Before we get into the story, comment below where in the world you are watching from today. Layla Brooks stared at her reflection in the bathroom mirror of Chez Michel, one of the fanciest restaurants in the Pie City. Her dark hair was pulled back in a simple but elegant ponytail, and the blue dress she'd splurged on hugged her curves in all the right places. Not that she could afford such luxuries often, not when rent was due, and her car needed repairs again. "You can do this," she whispered to herself, applying another coat of the drugstore lipstick her best friend Jenny had insisted matched her skin tone perfectly. "It's just dinner with a complete stranger, who Jenny swears is perfect for you." She checked her watch and gasped. She was already 15 minutes late. Between the extra shift at the diner and the bus running behind schedule, she'd barely made it here at all. Isla rushed out of the bathroom, clutching her worn purse tightly. The maitre raised an eyebrow at her flustered appearance. "Table 14, please," she said, remembering Jenny's instructions. "I'm meeting someone there." The maitre nodded and gestured toward the back of the restaurant. That way, Miss Ila's heels clicked against the polished floor as she was between tables of well-dressed couples sipping expensive wine. Her heart raced. What kind of man had Jenny set her up with? Someone who could afford this place must be successful. Maybe too successful for a woman who worked as a waitress by day and bookstore clerk by night. She spotted table 14 and took a deep breath. A man sat with his back to her, his broad shoulders filling out an expensive-looking suit. At least he had waited. "I'm so sorry I'm late," Isla said, sliding into the seat across from him. "The bus was—" The words died in her throat as she looked at the man's face. He was gorgeous. That was her first thought. Strong jawline, warm, brown eyes, and a smile that made her heart skip. Not at all the balding accountant type Jenny had described. "No problem at all," he said, his voice deep and pleasant. "I just got here myself." Isla blinked in confusion. This wasn't who she was supposed to meet. But before she could say anything, the waiter appeared with a bottle of wine. "The Chat Margot you ordered, sir," the waiter said, showing the label to the man. "Perfect, thank you," he replied, then looked at Isla. "I hope you like red." Isla nodded, still trying to process what was happening. This man clearly thought she was someone else, his blind date presumably. She should speak up, explain the mistake. But then he smiled again, and all rational thought fled her mind. "I'm Noah," he said, extending his hand across the table. "Isla," she replied, shaking his hand. His grip was firm but gentle. "So, Isla," Noah said as the waiter poured their wine. "Tell me about yourself." This was her chance to explain. To say this was a mix-up, that she was supposed to be meeting someone named Mark at this table, not him. But as she opened her mouth, a strange impulse took over. "I work 2 jobs, she blurted out. "I'm a waitress at Sally's Diner during the day, and I work at Cornerstone Books in the evenings." Noah looked surprised, but interested, not put off as most men would be. "That sounds exhausting," he said with genuine concern in his voice. Lila shrugged. "Hey, it pays the bills mostly." She took a sip of the wine and nearly gasped. It was the most delicious thing she'd ever tasted. "And I love being around books, so that part doesn't feel like work." "What kind of books do you enjoy?" Noah asked, leaning forward slightly. And just like that, they were talking. Really talking. Not the awkward small talk of a blind date, but a flowing conversation that felt natural and easy. Noah asked questions and actually listened to her answers. He laughed at her jokes about difficult customers and nodded sympathetically when she mentioned her struggle to finish college while working full-time. "I had to drop out after my mom got sick," she explained, surprised at how comfortable she felt sharing this with him. "Medical bills piled up, and someone had to work." "That couldn't have been easy," Noah said, his eyes soft with understanding. "Your mom, is she?" "She's better now," Isla said quickly. "Living in Florida with my aunt. The warm weather helps her arthritis." Noah nodded, then shared a bit about his own family, parents, who had pushed him hard, a sister he adored. He talked about growing up with expectations about finding his own path. Enough about me, he said after a while. What would you be doing if money wasn't an issue? Isla laughed. Is this a trick?
Question.
Not at all, Noah said, smiling. I'm genuinely curious. Isla took another sip of wine. Considering I'd finished my degree in education, become a teacher, she hesitated, then added. And I'd open a little bookstore cafe, a place where kids could come after school to read and get help with homework. Noah's eyes lit up. That sounds amazing. Yeah, well, Isla said, suddenly embarrassed by her dream. It's just a fantasy. The best businesses start as fantasies, Noah replied.
Trust me on that.
Before Isla could ask what he meant, her phone buzzed. She pulled it out and saw a text from Jenny. Mark said, You never showed up. Are you okay? Isla's stomach dropped. She'd been so caught up in her conversation with Noah that she'd completely forgotten she was at the wrong table. Everything all right? Noah asked, noticing her expression. Isla felt heat rising to her cheeks. I think there's been a mix-up. Noah raised an eyebrow. What do you mean? I was supposed to meet someone named Mark for a blind date at table 14. She looked around and suddenly noticed that they were at table 15, not 14. Oh my God, I sat at the wrong table. Noah's eyes widened. Then he burst out laughing. Not mocking, but genuinely amused. So, you're not Jessica, the investment banker my cousin set me up with? Isla covered her face with her hands. No, I'm just Isla, the waitress who can't read table numbers correctly. When she peeked through her fingers, Noah was still smiling. Well, just Isla, he said, raising his wine glass. I think this might be the best mix-up I've ever experienced. Their glasses clinked, and Isla felt a warmth that had nothing to do with the wine. What about your date? She asked. And mine? We should probably. Jessica is 20 minutes late, which means she's probably not coming, Noah said with a shrug. And as for your Mark, he glanced over Isla's shoulder, and his expression changed slightly. Is that your friend Jenny, the one who set you up? Isla turned to see Jenny approaching their table, her face a mix of confusion and curiosity. Isla, what are you doing? Mark's been waiting at table 14 for almost an hour. Isla winced. I'm so sorry. I got confused about the table numbers. Jenny looked from Isla to Noah, her eyes widening as she took in his expensive suit and the bottle of wine on the table. And you are? Jenny asked Noah. Noah Sinclair, he said, extending his hand. I was stood up, and Isla here was kind enough to join me instead. Jenny's mouth fell open. Noah Sinclair as in Sinclair Enterprises. As in the Noah Sinclair. Isla frowned. What was Jenny talking about? The one and only Noah replied with a smile that seemed slightly forced now. Jenny grabbed Isla's arm. Can I talk to you for a second? Privately? Before I could protest, Jenny was dragging her toward the ladies' room. Do you have any idea who that is? Jenny hissed as soon as the door closed behind them. Noah, the guy I accidentally sat with instead of Mark. That's Noah Sinclair, Jenny said as if the name should mean something. He's only one of the richest men in the city. His tech company went public last year. He's worth millions, maybe billions. Isla felt like the floor was tilting beneath her.
What?
No, he can't be. He's so normal. Normal? Jenny laughed. Isla, that man was just on the cover of Business Weekly. And you've been sitting there telling him about your jobs at the diner and the bookstore? He asked. Isla protested weakly. Jenny shook her head in disbelief. This is unreal. Mark is out there wondering where his date is, and you're having wine with a millionaire. I should go apologize to Mark, Isla said, feeling guilty.
Don't worry about it.
I texted him that you had an emergency, Jenny said, waving a hand dismissively. This is much more important. You need to get back out.
There.
And do what? Now that I know who he is, I'll just be awkward and weird.
So, don't be. Just be yourself.
It was working for you so far, right? Isla bit her lip. I guess go, Jenny urged, practically shoving her toward the door. And text me everything later. Isla walked back to the table, her legs feeling wobbly. Noah stood as she approached, ever the gentleman. Everything okay? He asked. Yes, Isla said, trying to sound normal. Jenny just wanted to check on something. As she sat down, she couldn't help seeing Noah differently now. The watch on his wrist probably cost more than her yearly rent. The casual way he'd ordered that wine, which she now realized must be incredibly expensive. How had she not noticed? So, Noah said, reclaiming his seat. Where were we? You're Noah Sinclair, Isla blurted out. Noah's smile faltered. Yes, of Sinclair Enterprises. He sighed, running a hand through his hair. Jenny told you. I'm guessing. Isla nodded, not trusting herself to speak. And now things are weird, Noah said. More a statement than a question. A little, Isla admitted. I mean, I've been sitting here talking about my minimum wage jobs and my student loans to someone who probably makes more money in a day than I do in a year. Noah leaned forward, his eyes intense. Isla, do you know why I enjoyed our conversations so much? Because you had no idea who I was. You weren't trying to impress me or get something from me. You were just you. Isla swallowed hard. And now that I know, now I'm hoping you can still be just you, Noah said softly. Because that's who I want to keep talking to. The waiter approached with menus, breaking the moment. Shall I give you a few minutes to decide? He asked. Noah looked at Isla questioningly. This was her chance to leave, to end this surreal evening and go back to her normal life. Yes, please, she said to the waiter. We need a few minutes. As the waiter walked away, Noah smiled, a relieved smile that made his eyes crinkle at the corners. So, he said, opening his menu. How do you feel about the lobster ravioli? Isla laughed, some of the tension leaving her body. I've never had lobster ravioli. Then tonight's your lucky night, Noah said, his eyes twinkling. Just like it's mine. Across the restaurant, a woman in a sleek black dress entered, looking around impatiently. She approached the maitre, exchanged a few words, then spotted Noah. Her red lips curved into a predatory smile. There's my date, she said, sauntering toward table 15. But Noah only had eyes for Isla, who was laughing at something he'd said. Her earlier nervousness forgotten Jessica Reynolds' investment. Banker and socialite was not used to being ignored, especially not for a woman in an off-Derek dress and drugstore makeup.
Noah.
Noah Sinclair, she said, stopping at their table. Noah looked up momentarily confused. Jessica, you're 7 o'clock, she said coolly. Sorry I'm late. Traffic was a nightmare. Isla's smile faded as she looked between Noah and the stunning woman beside their table. Of course, this was his type. Polished, sophisticated, successful. Actually, Noah said, clearing his throat. I'm in the middle of dinner with Isla. Jessica's perfectly shaped eyebrows rose. I see. And who is Isla? Before Noah could answer, Isla stood up. I'm nobody, she said quickly. Just someone who sat at the wrong table. I should go. Isla, wait, Noah said, standing too. You don't have to leave. But Isla was already gathering her purse. It's fine. Really, you should have dinner with your actual date. She forced a smile. Thanks for the wine. It was delicious. And with that, she hurried toward the exit, ignoring Noah calling her name. Outside, the cool night air hit her face, bringing her back to reality. What had she been thinking? That a millionaire CEO would actually be interested in someone like her. She was halfway down the block when she heard footsteps behind her. Isla, wait, please. She turned to see Noah jogging toward her, tie loosened and hair slightly mused. What about Jessica? Isla asked when he reached her. I told her something important came up. Noah said, slightly out of breath. I couldn't let you leave like that. Why not? She's clearly more your type. No, she's not, Noah said firmly. Look, I know this is crazy. We just met, and yes, there's a lot about my life I haven't told you, but I haven't felt this connection with someone in years, maybe ever. Isla stared at him, wanting to believe him, but afraid to. I'm not asking for anything, Noah continued. Just a chance to finish our dinner. To see where this goes. A taxi drove by, its headlights illuminating Noah's face. He looked sincere and hopeful. What would someone like you want with someone like me? Isla asked softly. The chance to be with someone real? Noah replied. Someone who sees me, not my bank account. He held out his hand. Will you come back inside, please? Isla hesitated, then placed her hand in his. Okay, but I'm ordering the cheapest thing on the menu. Noah laughed, and the sound warmed her from the inside out.
Deal.
As they walked back toward the restaurant, Isla knew she was taking a risk. That this night might lead nowhere, that tomorrow Noah might regret choosing the waitress over the investment banker. But for tonight, in this moment, she decided to believe in the possibility of something wonderful. What she didn't see was Jessica Reynolds watching them from the restaurant entrance, her eyes cold with calculation. "Noah Sinclair," she murmured, taking out her phone. "You just made a very big mistake." She dialed a number. "Charles, it's Jessica. You know that business opportunity we discussed? I think I found your way in." Inside, oblivious to the brewing storm, Noah and Isla returned to their table. Their evening and their story just beginning. 2 weeks had passed since that fateful night at Chez Michel, and Isla still couldn't believe how her life had changed. She hummed to herself as she wiped down tables at Sally's diner, her mind replaying memories of her dates with Noah. After that first dinner, Noah had asked for her number. Isla had been sure he wouldn't call, that once he returned to his world of board meetings and business deals, he'd forget all about the waitress he'd met by accident. But the very next day, he texted her asking if she was free for lunch. Earth to Isla. Doris, the 60-year-old head waitress, waved a hand in front of Isla's face. "Table 6 needs their check, honey. And you've been wiping that same spot for 5 minutes. Isla blushed. "Sorry, Doris. I was just daydreaming about that handsome man of yours." Doris finished with a knowing smile. "The one who keeps sending flowers to the diner." As if on cue, the bell above the door jingled, and a delivery man entered carrying a bouquet of sunflowers. Isla's favorite. The other waitresses giggled as the man approached Isla. "Delivery for Isla Brooks," he announced. Isla accepted. The flowers, her cheeks burning as her coworkers teased her. She quickly read the card attached, counting the hours until tonight. Noah tonight, their 5th date. Noah was taking her to a charity gala, the first time they would be appearing in public at a high-profile event. Isla's stomach knotted with nerves at the thought. "Must be nice," said Vicky, the newest waitress, as she passed by with a tray of orders. "Dating a millionaire. He's not just started to protest, then stopped." What was the point? No one seemed to understand that she was falling for Noah the person, not Noah the millionaire. The rest of her shift passed in a blur of coffee refills and burger orders. When she finally clocked out, Jenny was waiting outside in her beat-up Honda carriage awaits Cinderella. Jenny called through the open window. "We've got exactly 3 hours to transform you into a princess." Isla climbed into the passenger seat. "I'm starting to regret asking for your help." "Please," Jenny scoffed, pulling into traffic. "Without me, you wouldn't have even met Prince Charming." "I met him because I sat at the wrong table," Isla reminded her. Details, Jenny waved dismissively. "The point is, I'm your fairy godmother, and tonight is your ball." At Jenny's apartment, a dress was already laid out on the bed. A stunning emerald green gown that shimmered under the light. "Jenny," Isla gasped. "It's beautiful, but I can't afford." "Relax," Jenny said. "It's a loaner from my cousin who works at Nordstrom. We just have to return it without stains or tears." As Jenny helped her with her hair and makeup, Isla confessed her fears. "What if I embarrass him? What if everyone wonders what he's doing with someone like me?" Jenny paused with the mascara wand in midair. "Someone like you? You mean someone kind, genuine, and beautiful?" "Yeah, what a mystery." "You know what I mean." Isla sighed. "I don't belong in his world." "Maybe his world needs more people like you," Jenny replied, returning to her makeup work. "Now close your eyes and stop doubting yourself." Across town in his penthouse apartment, Noah was adjusting his bow tie when his phone rang. The screen displayed, "Mother," he sighed before answering. "Hello, Mother." "Noah, darling," came Vivian Sinclair's crisp voice. "I just received the guest list for tonight's gala. You've requested a +1. Is it that lovely Jessica Reynolds? Her father mentioned you two had dinner." Noah pinched the bridge of his nose. "No, Mother. I'm bringing someone else. Her name is Isla Brooks." A pause. "Brooks? I don't believe I know the family." "You wouldn't," Noah said simply. "She's not from your social circle." "I see." Vivian's tone cooled noticeably. And what does Miss Brooks do? Noah hesitated, knowing how his mother would react. She's a waitress and a bookstore clerk. The silence on the other end was deafening. Mother? Noah? Vivian finally said, her voice tight with disapproval. I understand you're going through some sort of rebellion phase. But a waitress at the children's hospital. GLA, the board members will be there, potential investors. I'm bringing Isla, Noah said firmly. She's important to me. This isn't like you, Vivian pressed. You've always been so sensible about your public image. Maybe I'm tired of my public image, Noah shot back. Maybe I want something real. For a change, real? Vivian let out a brittle laugh. Noah, be practical. What could you possibly have in common with this girl? More than I ever had with any of the socialites you pushed my way, Noah thought. Aloud, he said, I have to go, Mother. Isla will be here soon. Just think about what you're doing, Vivian said before hanging up. For the sake of the company, if nothing else. Noah tossed his phone onto the bed, his good mood dampened. He knew bringing Isla tonight would cause a stir, but he didn't care. The past 2 weeks with her had been the happiest he could remember. With Isla, he could just be Noah. Not the CEO, not the millionaire, just a man enjoying the company of a woman who made him laugh, who challenged him, who saw the person behind the wealth. A text notification broke his thoughts. It was from Charles Reynolds, Jessica's father, and a potential business partner. Looking forward to seeing you tonight. We have much to discuss. Noah frowned. He'd made it clear to Jessica that he wasn't interested, but it seemed the Reynolds family wasn't giving up easily.